how I usually cut my hair. But then I saw that it was a bit messed up, so I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna just shave everything off.
Yeah, I mean, it grows fast anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shaved my head like, remember, like that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
or a week ago. And it was funny. Like I liked doing it. I did it. I could have had my daughter or Lana do it, but I just did it myself because I wanted to mess it all up. So I don't know. I offered to pay I tried to call the guy that cuts my hair because I go right here in my community here, and I offered to pay him even though I wasn't going to come in, just so he wouldn't be out the income. I was like, look, I budget for it anyways to get a haircut, so I'll pay you anyways. And I called the salon to say, hey, I'd like to get in touch with him to offer him payment once a month, even though he's not cutting my hair, just because this sucks. He's out of work, and he's literally a hairstylist, like he can't do anything. And the place didn't even like, they're like, well, we can't give you his number. I was like, no, I understand. I don't want you to give me his number, but maybe you could give me his email, or I can send you an email and you can forward it to him, or just leave him a message. So I sent them an email and I don't think they ever told him. I think they thought he was going to just start his own business and go to people's homes, or so they thought maybe I was trying to get him to my house or something, which wasn't the case at all. All right. Hey, we're recording. Let's stop talking about hair. People are going to think we're very pretentious about our looks and how we look and stuff.
No, we're just in COVID mode.
Yes, we're just in COVID mode. All right, so welcome everybody. This is the 11th session. I've been having a lot of fun lately. I think the last few discussions were a lot of fun. So Marco, we kind of spoke with you about how you started your business, and Christian and Noella and a few others were part of that discussion. I'd like to drill in with Kevin a little bit, because also, Kevin, why don't you, I know you introduced yourself on previous discussions as one of the head coaches, one of the lead coaches, but why don't you just give your background and everything and take us up to the point where you decided, hey, I think there might be a business idea and then we'll pause there because I want to ask you some questions about it. Why don't you just give us an intro?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my name is Kevin Vega. I was gonna say I'm 18, but I just turned 19. So getting used to saying that. I went to Naval College Prep Academy, where Mark was from. That was a great school. And I guess how I started my kind of my business background, my entrepreneurship, kind of my ambition for it is growing up. I don't know. I was always like told by teachers like, hey Kevin, like you're a great student, like you have to be and there's like middle school and ninth grade, like hey, you have to be like, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, like start looking at all these degrees, all these careers, because like you're gonna do great in them. And I was kind of like, hey, like I'm not really into this, like why don't I like this? I was like why am I not feeling this? But I was like, I kind of have to do it because that's what they're telling me, like that's what I need to do to be successful. So I was kind of feeling forced to do it. And like
real quickly, it was professions of being a doctor or a lawyer or
a lawyer. And I think I think it was like, I forgot, there was an architect. Like I was even considering being an architect, but I was like, hey, I can't draw. So like, but yeah, I was told by teachers, and like these are people I look up to, like you can say my mentors when I was young. So I was listening to them. I understood that in order to be successful in life, in my professional career, I had to like do get this fancy degree, be this fancy doctor, lawyer. Growing up, I kind of just had it in my mind, like I have to do this. And then I think it was like in 10th grade when let's go back to when I was graduating middle school, choosing where I was gonna go to high school. I heard about this school that had just been built. Nava, Marco was part of the first class there, first student in that school.
And just for people's reference, Nava was a school that was launched when the Jefferson High School in South Central Los Angeles got to have so many issues with it in terms of preparing and educating students as part of the Los Angeles School District, that the school decided they had to do something dramatically different. And so they kind of reinvented the Jefferson High School with a school within a school called Nava College Prep. You guys wore uniforms, but it's right there in South Central LA, right basically on the same campus as Jefferson High School. And the beautiful thing about this is, and I put the article on our website, the exponentialdestiny.com. The beautiful thing about this is the parents in the neighborhood and the teachers gave a proposal along with a bunch of professional groups that gave a proposal on how to reinvent the school. And the school district chose the proposal by the families and parents, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember they came to my school, to my middle school, to give a presentation, and Marco was there. And they gave a presentation. They talked about all these programs and like all these extracurricular activities. And to be honest, I don't remember any of it. The reason that I chose to go there was because they were in ties. They were in a white shirt and dressing pants and in like black shoes. And I was like, that's different. That's something that you don't really see like in schools. So I'm like, I want to go there. I'm gonna go there. And I mean, that was one of the best decisions I've made. It was a great school. And then when I was in 10th grade, I believe, I heard about the Exponential Entrepreneurship Program. And I was like, what's this? Like, I know what business is, but what's entrepreneurship? Like, I don't think I've heard this word before. Like, what is this? And then I think Marco, you gave a presentation in my class and when I was in 9th grade to join. And then they kind of explained the basics of it, what we would be studying and stuff. So I decided to join it. I'm like, hey, let me give it a shot. What do I have to lose? If I were, it'll be a fun class. And I think that's it.
So this was, so just real quickly, this was
Yeah.
So Marco, this was after you went through the Exponential Entrepreneur class that I came in and we started when you were a sophomore. And then the following year,
Yeah.
you were a junior and you went around to freshmen and told them about the class.
Yeah, I believe so. We wanted to like, to scale the program because we wanted
Yeah.
the three.
Cool.
So I joined this class, and I think it was like about like 6-7 months in when I realized that like business was like, it was like this thing, entrepreneurship was like this thing that could really be like endless, if that makes any sense. I realized that I no longer had to like pursue this super like professional career, like be a lawyer, a doctor, because there was this other choice of being like whatever I wanted, right? And for example, I hate like routines. I hate having to do the same thing every day. And with business, I was told that you would be able to do like something different every day. You don't have to overcome like different stuff every day. So I was like, cool, like this is something that I really want to do. This is something I really want to pursue. So through Expo, I was super engaged. I learned how to fly a drone, which is awesome. I was able to experience 3D printing, 360 cameras, which was cool. Something I had never experienced. Virtual reality. So I was kind of exposed to these technologies, and it was crazy for me. I loved it. And then I believe my senior year, I went through the same program that Marco did, the Business in a Box.
Yeah.
And I did a marketing company. It was called Market01. Like we bought our domain and everything, market01.com. Like we were super serious about it. We were excited. We basically it was marketing for businesses in our community, like small businesses that can't really afford big marketing companies.
Yeah.
So we started with a barber. And this was before the pitch. We started with a barber. We knew this, but he was our friend. He's been cutting us for a long time. So we made him an Instagram. We created a website for him, a marketing campaign, and we marketed him for 1 week. And in that week, he had booked appointments like every day, back to back. And he was telling us that it was too much for him to handle. And then that's when we were like, what, like that's crazy. Like we were able to like, I believe his account had 768 followers, which it's not a lot, but if you think about it, it was all followers from our community, and those all potential customers.
And also for a barber, like who's going to follow a barber? So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and we shot a video. We made a video for him, and it was pretty cool. And then that's when we went into the pitch. And into the pitch, everyone went with an idea, right?
So describe what a pitch is for those.
So a pitch is a competition basically where different people pitch a business. They explain a business. There's a panel of judges, and you explain why.
This was at your school. You were doing the pitch.
Yeah, at high school.
So people are tracking.
Yeah.
You can do a pitch to, like on the previous discussion, we talked about a venture capitalist firm which gives money to entrepreneurs. It could be an angel investor, which is a high net worth individual that gives money to entrepreneurs. It could be a nonprofit that wants to fund entrepreneurs with a grant. You usually have to give a pitch. Like if you ever watch the show, Shark Tank is not really so much the reality of what it is. But so you were doing this within your school in order to get what? Just as part of the education, or could you actually get some funding?
We're going to get $500 in funding for first place. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were excited.
This is Marco when you had your Waiters in Distress idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everyone was pitching. We pitched last. Everyone pitched. They pitched an idea. They're like, hey, I'm thinking of this thing. Like, it could be cool. That's basically what everyone said. And we came in, we're like, hey, we not only thought about this thing, but look, we put it into action, and this is what we did. Right?
No, and nobody was able to show
Nobody did that. And no one knew we did that because we kind of saved it.
Please
And
tell
then-
me you got the money. You won.
No, yeah, we won first
Oh,
place.
that's great, yeah.
So we kind of we went all out. We did too much, but I mean, it's cool. That's what I like to do. I like to do too much. We all wear suits, like full suits. And then at the end, like we popped like party poppers, like.
You should have brought your client, the barber, in as a client testimonial.
We thought about calling him on the phone, but like, hey, like that's too much. Like it stopped. So we did that. We won first place. So it was pretty cool. We were excited about that. And I think that's when I guess we started like making like a little bit of money with entrepreneurship and with starting our own business.
Well, so wait, let's pause on this because I didn't realize you did this before the business you had up at college.
Mm-hmm.
So with this business, because I want people to understand how easy or how hard it was, and maybe what some of your failures. Because this is when you're still in high school. So you basically said, whenever you start a business, you have to look at demand and supply, and finding the right client, the right market fit for your product or service.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point you did an ideation session or a brainstorming session with some of your friends and said, what's some skills I have? Where do I have we talked about this before, where do I have a right to win? Meaning I have some skills.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I match those skills to serve some need that I think is a void in the current market? And it sounded like what you did was, well, one thing I am good at, what like most teenagers are good at, is I'm good at social media. And I can use social media now because it's really the new form of advertising and marketing for businesses, not just for friends sharing stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if I could take all my expertise on how to use Instagram and social media and all this stuff and go to a local business here and help them get on social media, which the barbershop probably wasn't even on social media, right?
Yeah.
He probably never had done it. He or she had never even been involved with it.
Yeah.
So you came up with this idea and then you knew the barber because they had been doing cutting you and your friend's hair. So how did you approach them? How did you approach him or her to get the idea?
We just told them like, hey, so we told them our idea, like, hey, we're trying to do this thing. We haven't done it before. So like, we're not professionals, but we'll do it for free. And this is what we think is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And he was more than happy about it. We told him like, we're going to make an Instagram and we're going to shoot a video. Like that'll be the first steps. And then from there we'll go on. And I mean, we shot the video and he loved it. He loved it. Like, one of my friends, he's like a really good editor. So like, I mean, do you
have the video on your computer? You can share your screen and show it to us?
Actually, I think I have it on my phone. Let me see if I can send it over.
So did he ever, you know what you could do in that example though, Kevin? And maybe I understand why you did it for free the first time because you were trying to prove it. And sometimes you'll want to do that in a business. You'll want to have a client. And so what you got to do is in advance, a couple options there. You tell the client, we'll do this for free because we're trying to build a name and a brand for ourselves, but we need you to go on video and do a testimonial. It's called a client testimonial, where you basically do a video that we end up putting on our website where you just share how pleased you were with the business and you share how the business went up 300% and et cetera. Because that's worth quite a bit of value if you get a client to say that. The other option is you make it commission based, which means you tell the client, don't pay us unless we're successful. So we just want, what's your normal sales during the week? And let's say he or she says, I normally make, $3,000 at the barber salon each week. I'm just throwing a number out there, right? Okay, well, this is what we'll do. For everything, if your average is $3,000 on average per week in the summer, anything you go do above 3,000, we would like to take 10% as our payment. So we'll share in the reward. We'll take the risk, but we'll share in the reward. So we'll do it for free. And if we're not any good or it doesn't work and your sales don't go up, you just got some free advertising, even though it didn't convert to sales. You got a free website. But if it does go up, which we think it will, which is our goal, we want just 10% of the revenue that comes in. That's another model that you can do, which it's called sharing risk and reward. You got the video?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, sweet.
I'm going to share it.
So this is a video that you created for him that you then put on Instagram or something?
Yeah, this was right in the start. Like this right after we recorded it.
Okay, cool.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't know.
Listen, sorry, Marco, to interrupt you. Hey, Kevin, when you share the recording so we can hear it okay and it gets recorded okay, you got to hit the little option that says optimize for sound and optimize for video. Do you see that?
Okay, let me try again.
When you hit share screen, it'll have down at the bottom will be 2 check boxes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marco, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that I didn't know that that you did this, Kevin. I guess I was gone, right? So I was
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was one of our friends.
300 views in a small
Yeah.
community. Like, I like
And one of the coolest things that we were surprised is this guy that commented, Dre First or whatever. He's like a famous barber in like the barber community. And he actually like commented. I don't know how he found the video, but he commented on the video. He has like I think I recorded how many.
Oh man, I love this. You know what's so cool about this? What's really cool about this is, you know, the whole concept of being an exponential entrepreneur is you can do things like the fact that you did all this is so different than what I was able to do when I was trying to be an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like all these tools have been democratized, meaning they're now accessible to you. And how much did it cost you to go do it? This is the beautiful thing. How much did it cost you to actually go do this?
Nothing.
Nothing. Your costs are zero. I would have had to spend, I don't want to use me as an example because I'm old, much older. I'm not going to say I'm old, but I'm much older. But even 15, 20 years ago, if you tried to do this stuff, it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't feasible. You'd have to buy tons of software, tons of video editing equipment. You'd have to buy special cameras, special video. Now you can do this all on your iPhone or all on your phone, right? And the software was free. It's absolutely incredible. So you're able to make a business with zero startup cost.
Yeah. So there's a guy that commented on the post. He has 18K, and like when we saw that, we were like, why? Like that's crazy. Like he's commenting like on our post that we made. And the cool thing about this barber is that I believe it was like 2 months after this barber was cutting out of his house because he wasn't in a barber shop yet. I guess he just couldn't find somewhere to cut or somewhere that would take him. But after creating the Instagram, he told us that he had different like barber shops like messaging him like, hey, come cut with us. And now he cuts in a barber shop. So that's crazy, kind of thinking like, hey, like we kind of had an impact on like getting him into somewhere like
That's
stable.
so sweet. What do you mean you actually helped? Once he discovered how to market and advertise on social media with you guys' help, he actually was able to make enough income and get enough business where he could set up his own barbershop and move out of his house to do it?
Well, he didn't set up his own barbershop, but he went to go work with inside a barbershop. So now he has like regular clients. Like
that's so cool.
He doesn't have to search for clients.
That must have been great, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a fun story. And then you decided you could have probably, did you try any other businesses besides the barbershop?
Yeah, we tried, but we did one other place. But what we found was that I guess businesses weren't really, they were kind of scared for change and kind of scared to progress. Like we would tell them like, hey, like we're charging like a very low amount. We're gonna do this here. This is what we did with the barber, like where he is now. But we couldn't really find anywhere in our community that would do it.
Yeah.
So then I think I put an ad up on Craigslist, I think it was. And then I think someone misunderstood. And they messaged me, they're like, hey, I have a quinceañera, or what was the first one? I think the first one was a wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's our videographer canceled on us. Like, can you come shoot for us? And we're like, hey, like we've never done this, but like yeah, like we'd be down to try. I mean, we didn't tell him that, but like I kind of talked to my friends like, like yeah, like we'll try. Like we have a drone, we have a camera, like let's do it. So then we shot it. And, like it was like it came out. I think it came out really cool. Like it's a really nice video. Actually, I can show you guys a little bit. I think I have it on my drive. Yeah. So then that's kind of when we shifted from like I guess like a marketing company to shooting like videos and stuff.
Yeah. Let me ask you a couple of things.
Yeah.
What do you think because there was still the market demand out there. I mean, businesses, they want to grow. I mean, one thing you're describing is very typical, by the way. And you want me to share with you how I frame this? I call them antibodies. Mm-hmm. You know what antibodies in your immune system? They're antibodies are things that they're cells that kill other viruses. You have antibodies that in your body that kill intruders, right? The same thing happens in real life when you try to innovate a business, sometimes the business has antibodies. It's just nervous of change. They're just nervous to change.
Yeah.
They've just done things the same way so long. Maybe they even believe it could be happening or that you could help them, but they're still just nervous to change. It sounds like you met some antibodies, which were people that were saying, I just like my core business the way it is. And sure, what you're saying sounds interesting, but it's such a foreign language to me. I just don't understand it at all. And it just kind of scares me. And therefore I'm going to not change. And unfortunately, that's the antibodies smother that innovation. And unfortunately, it's a really negative consequence because it will usually means that within years later, that business will be out of business.
Yeah.
You have to change, so it's a hard hurdle to get over.
Yeah. But then what happened with that was, we did like 1 or 2 events, but then we found that this is like logical, but I guess we didn't think about it. Like people book for videographers. Once we switched to videographers, people book for videographers like 6 or like 7, 8 months in advance because like that's when events are. But we were already like we were all leaving to college. So then that's kind of when it kind of like hey, like this is cool. We might come back at it at some point, but like for now, I think we all want to like kind of like pursue different things and see what finds out. Like we still do it here and then. Like I still have an event scheduled for I think next month in Arizona. Like it's a quinceañera of a girl's turning 15, which I still like doing it because I love filming. I love editing, but it's just like a once in a while thing. So then that's when.
What's the hardest part of the model, or where did you fail at all and you learned something that you can?
Yeah, I guess I like marketing and advertising ourselves was like the hardest part. And also like that. I mean, I'm still young, but we were young. We were kind of like. It kind of sucked when someone was like, "Hey, yeah, like I want you guys, but in like a year," and we're like, "Oh, like we're 17, like, we don't know where we're gonna be. We're like, we don't know if we're gonna be in the States." So it's kind of like we couldn't really commit to stuff that was that far in advance, just because like we weren't really set up like that yet. But it was kind of like a learning process, and I feel like that was really important for me because that was kind of like it kind of just showed me like what business really was, what entrepreneurship really was, and kind of just like making like a little bit of money and like having it for myself, like I was just like going out and like when my mom asked me like, "Oh, do you need any money?" I was like, "No, like not this time." But, like just like little things like that like really mattered, and I was like, "Damn, like this is cool. Like I could go to a party and have fun with my friends and get paid. Like what is this like?" Yeah. And that's when I really realized that
because you had self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
And that feels really good, right? And
it did. It really did.
You know that you're picking up skills that you kind of saw the line of sight where you said, you know what, if I keep improving at this, it's not as hard as it looks. The more I improve on this and the more I learn, I realize that my future, I can actually probably be self-sufficient. And that gives you a sense of security.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, it just felt really good, like being able to do that. And that's when I went to, I started GCU. I decided to go there because of their entrepreneurship program. And they had, they were building a thing called the Cayenne Venture Center, which is like a business incubator. The 2019 was the first year they built it. And it was like this thing. It was like I believe they hold 25 businesses. There's huge businesses in there like Digital. They have Dippin' Dots in there, like huge businesses that are trying to like be innovative. And I never thought I would be able to get in there because it's like a huge process. There's like hundreds of. Yeah, it's like off campus, but it's like part of GCU in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't think I'll be able to get in there, but I thought like just going to a school that has something like that would be super like beneficial to me in any way. So I went there. I decided to go there, and I kind of went with like just this idea, like, hey, I want to create something. Like I want to do something. I don't know what, but I really want to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's when I don't know. I was just sitting one day doing homework, and it was really late, and my assignment was almost due, and I was super hungry, but all the restaurants closed at 12. So then I had to decide, I'm like, what do I want to do? Do I want to eat or do I want to like finish my assignment? And I was like, no, I have to finish my assignment. And I was like, why isn't there a way that I could just order food on my phone on campus? And because I can't order Postmates or Uber Eats because it's a private university. So like people that don't attend the school can't come inside. So I was like, there has to be something, right? So the next day, the craziest thing happened. I met this guy. His name is Suman, right? He's my partner in the business. I met him, and then we just started talking. Like he's my neighbor, like one door down, my freshman year. We just started talking about random stuff. And then I don't know how it came up, but I'm like, hey, like I was thinking about it. Like I really want to do this thing where you could order food on your phone to your door on campus, and like the students deliver it. He's like, hey, that's pretty cool. And I told him, yeah, but like the thing is, like I have all these ideas, but like I don't know how to code. I don't know how to make an app. Like, and I was searching it up, and it's like for the kind of app I want, it would be like over $20,000. I'm like, yeah, like I don't have that kind of money to pay that much for an app. And he's like, dude, no way. Like I've been coding for a few years. Like I think I can do it, right? And I was like, I think at that moment I was like I was just kind of stopped, and I'm like what's going on? Like, you know how to code? He's like, yeah, like I know how to code. I'm like, dude, like we're doing this. Like we have to do this. And like from that point on, we became like almost like best friends. Like this guy's super cool. Like we're together all the time. So we had this idea now of like this food delivery service. Like what do we do with this idea? And there was a club on campus called the Idea Club, where you just take ideas. We had no idea what it was. So then we go the next day, and then we tell them like, hey, we have this idea for a food delivery service. And then we told the two leaders, Connor and Andrew, they're awesome guys now that we know them very well. And then we told them about this idea we have, and then they just started laughing, right?
Were
They
these
kind of
older
just
students-
chuckled.
were these older students?
Yeah, they're students. They're 1 year older than us, I believe.
Mhm.
They kind of just started laughing, and we're kind of like felt like disrespected, like, hey, like why are you laughing? But no, they were kind of just laughing because they told us that that this idea was like, I guess like worn out, that like tons of students have tried it and like everyone failed. And they told us why. But they're like, hey, like this idea, everyone has tried it, like no one's able to do it. I mean, you could try it, but like, you know, like no discouragement, but like it's gonna be very hard because there's this company on campus called Sodexo, and basically they own I wanna see how I can say this. They own like all the food that goes onto campus in a way.
Yeah, there's a
They control every restaurant, everything every student eats. They're in charge of it. It's like a multi-billion-dollar company, like over like hundreds of universities and like businesses and stuff. So they're a huge company, and they told us that whenever students try to get into the business, Sodexo asked them that in order for you to deliver food, you have to set up a chain in the campus, and that's gonna cost $20,000. Like, hey, you could do it, but give us $20,000, and then we'll let you do it. And that they told us that, and they were like, hey, like damn, that's crazy, that sucks. And I kind of just look at that, I'm like, hey, like yeah, like that's crazy, like we're like do you still want to do it? And I kind of just look at him like that, I'm like, we should do it. Like the worst thing that could happen is that we're gonna fail, but we're gonna learn something from it, right? And I was like, both of us kind of just felt like, I feel like this is a great start, like let's just see what happens. So then we kind of just ran with this idea, and we did nothing we didn't like talk to anyone for about like a week or 2 weeks.
Wait, let me ask you something, Kevin, just to make sure I'm tracking.
Mhm.
So you went to the Idea Club, which is some
Yeah.
club on campus where people come with ideas. When
Yeah.
you're on a college campus, there's a lot of these group networks and communities that organize.
Yeah.
You shared with some of the older students there what your idea was. They kind of jokingly laughed at it and said, yeah, who doesn't want to deliver food? I mean, that's a very saturated market. There's a ton of those. And to do it here on campus is almost impossible because there's a food service company that owns a monopoly on campus that basically has every contract.
Exactly, yeah.
They put up walls, and if you want to break through that wall, you can pay them 20 grand to set up a chain. And even if you did that, you probably have they probably charge you monthly even.
Yeah.
So you were kind of feeling discouraged, but even though everyone's telling you no, you thought at a minimum it'd be a good learning experience, and you decided to move forward anyways.
Yeah, we're like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, we're gonna learn. Like, this is what we're here for. Like, we're freshmen. Like, of course, we're not gonna create a successful business our first year. Like, we're just here to learn. We're here to try something and like work with it and see what happens. So and that's when for 2 days, for 2 weeks, Dan and we found another guy that coded on campus too, and they developed like an MVP of the app. You could say like it was the very like bare bones. It was like it was like an ugly app, right? It was very ugly, but it worked. It
was a minimum viable product, an MVP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It did its work. It was able to get orders through to students and then to the delivery driver, and it worked. It worked. It had the menu on there, and it was good. So then with the app, what we did is we took it to one of the guys at the we took it to the director of the innovation center, the County Venture Center, the head of basically the business department at GCU. His name is Robert Vera. This guy, he's one of the best guys I've ever met. He's my mentor. He's super cool. He used to be the vice president of Merrill Lynch. So like this guy, like he knows a lot. So we went, and then we kind of just presented ourselves like, hey, like I'm Kevin, I'm Dan, and I told him about kind of like my background, like what I've done. I told him I'm excited, like I want to do something, like what should I do? And then this guy, he's super cool. He kind of just he told me we were the first freshmen to kind of go and just ask. He says that no one asked, and like he likes that we're asking. Cause so then he told us that we should just he what did he say? He basically just told us I don't want to get him in trouble, but he said like kind of just do it in a way.
He said just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
That's exactly what he said. If he watches this, he's gonna laugh because that's exactly what he said. Just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Yes, sometimes that's a good strategy.
Yeah, he didn't really tell us what to do, but we kind of just figured out he wanted us to launch the app without the school's permission, right?
Yeah,
So
that's such an innovator thing to do.
Yeah, so then we're
I don't want to encourage breaking rules.
Yeah.
The reality is, he was basically saying, this is interesting, Kevin. He was basically saying, there's antibodies in the core here.
Yeah.
And they'll smother this because they don't like change. So it's pretty harmless. So he saw it as a learning educational experience for you. So he didn't want to discourage you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll act like I never heard it. Just do it. And
yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So then we were kind of scared because we're freshmen, like we kind of don't want to get kicked out, like we don't know what's gonna happen. We're like, hey, like let's just do it, right? So for one day, for like a few hours, we launched the app. We called it the beta test for low seat. We made an Instagram. We shot a video. The Instagram went crazy the first day. We had over, I think it was like 10,000 impressions in our Instagram.
Really?
Impressions, like that means that 10,000 people went into our account because this is something people have been talking about like every day. And then once like people just started tagging us in their stories and like it went crazy. So we had to like close our app after 15 minutes because we had 300 users already, and that was more than what we could handle because it was just like 5 of us, and like we were gonna be delivering the food. So like we're like, yeah, that's it, like close it up. So for 3 hours we were just running back and forth. It was super chaotic. We couldn't handle it. We had more of our friends.
How did you do the operations? You would basically, someone would say they wanted something, and then you place the order, and then you would you actually call the place and place the order yourself?
No, we would go to the place, get in line, and get the food and drive it. Like, it was very like we just wanted to make it possible.
Yeah, so it was basically just like people were texting you, I want a cheeseburger and fries from this from this restaurant, and you would go and get it and deliver it and charge.
Pretty much, that was what the app was doing. It was a very ugly app. It was very simple, but that's what it was doing. It was just getting the order through. Yeah. So we did that, and then we made like I think it was like $300 or something like that day, like $300, which was cool. Like we're like, hey, like beta test, and we made money. Like that's awesome.
Wait, $300 after you paid for the food, so you made profit.
Yeah, that was profit. So that was
one day.
No, in like 3 hours. So that was crazy. That's when we really saw the potential in this. We're like, like this is crazy. This is gonna be something big. And then we were all hyped. We were all excited. We went back to Robert and we told him about it. He's like, oh, that's awesome. Like yeah, like great work. And then I think like 2 days later, I get no, it was that same day. I get an email from Robert Vera, and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. Like, come to my office right now. So I have an electric skateboard, so like I got to like in 2 minutes, and then he shows me this chain of emails, right? And I was like I know what this is. Like I don't even want to see it.
This is where you ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. So the first person in the email is the Chick-fil-A general manager, right? Hey, these kids came to a restaurant. They told me they were doing this app. Like, do they have permission? ? And then it's like different people, like public safety. Then it's like
oh god.
It's a bunch of people, but then it ended up with the dean of the College of Business, and then it went to the president of the university, Brian Mueller, which is like what? And then it kind of got directed to Robert, like, hey, this is the guy in charge of like startups. So like
wait. Were they mad or were they admiring? Thinking
no, they were really upset, especially Sodexo. Sodexo was really upset. They're like, hey, like how did you guys let this happen? How is this happening? Like this is not okay. Like I don't want them to watch this video, but like they're upset.
Let me ask you this: were they mad because look, I'm supposed to be the adult in the room, not laughing, but I think this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Were they mad because it was a health risk or something, and they thought it?
I don't know. They were just mad because they were like,
why would the Chick-fil-A guy be upset? You're helping his business.
Yeah, they were like, how are these two freshmen like kind of like messing our system up? They thought like, why are they?
You know what we're gonna call this? You pulled a Zuckerberg.
Yeah, they're like, why? I mean, they were just concerned.
This is like a Facebook example of what Mark Zuckerberg did when he just like. This is very interesting.
Yeah,
interesting because I question whether or not who's got the authority to tell an adult entrepreneur that you can't take private text messages from people in your community and go run an errand for them.
Yeah. Well, what they said was kind of like it's on our campus, so like if we say no, like kind of has to be a no.
Mm.
But that's when Sodexo they got really they got upset, and then they were like screaming at people, and then like they were kind of just telling us like, hey, like you guys are in trouble, like stop, don't do that anymore. But then that's when Sodexo they got, I don't want to say worried, but they got concerned that two students that had not even been to school for like less than a month were causing this. So that's when.
Wait, was there any? Hold on a second. I'm a little disappointed. Was there any? Look, I get it, and you can't go rogue. But look, you're a pretty responsible student. You came in, you presented a business case. It's not like you're just going nuts with this thing. Did anyone kind of take you aside and pat you on the back and say, you know what? Let me try to help you to find a formal way to do this because what you're doing is really admirable, and you got it's a really great idea. And let me try to see if I can help guide you through this versus everyone, or was everyone just around you saying stop and in panic mode?
No, I guess that's what Robert was doing for us. He was kind of just like, he would sit down with us and kind of just tell us like, hey, what you're doing is great, but like make sure you do this, make sure you do this. And then that's when Sodexo wanted to meet with us. Like they're like, oh, like this, this multi-billion-dollar company wants a meeting with you two freshmen. And we're kind of like, damn, like this is crazy.
Wait, this is the food service company?
Yeah, they wanted a meeting with us. Like this is crazy. Like they're gonna scream at us. What are they gonna say? Like we're scared. So like it's funny because me and my friend we put on our suits and we ride our skateboards to their office. So it's just funny. Like they always talk about that because people saw us and it's funny. And then we pull up to the office, and then basically he in a way he. Okay, what I didn't mention before this is before this for a whole month, we had been taking sales training with this guy called Kevin Youngblood in school from the Innovation Center. So it's like he's a very successful entrepreneur. He sold lots of companies for a lot of money, and he runs like private sales courses, and he was giving it to us for free. Like these are like $1,000 courses. So like we were like really listening, and basically what he taught us is like how to close deals and how to like help like always get people to always say yes. And it's kind of like it's a funny process, but it's super cool. So then we go to this meeting and we use what he was teaching us, and it was funny because everything he taught us, like it doesn't make sense, but like I would take very long explaining it. But basically we just talked to them and to Sodexo, and we explained to them how us being in business was going to help their revenues go up. And we told them how we were not taking any customers from them. We weren't charging them anything. We're bringing them more customers. People order Postmates and they go off campus to go get it. Like we don't want this, right? We want everything to stay in campus. And then the craziest thing happened after the meeting. We had closed a deal. We signed the contract with Sodexo, a multi-billion-dollar company. I drafted a contract. I'd never done that before, right? So we closed the deal for them giving us permission to run on campus, right? And us keeping like all the profits of it. So it was like we walked out of that meeting like what just happened? Like that's crazy. Now we had
the big antibody, which was the food service company that actually had the authority for the campus, they called you in and they actually said we kind of like this idea and they encouraged you and they said
they started the meeting very like kind of like, hey, like you shouldn't be doing this, like kind of what are you doing? But then we kind of just talked to him. He was a reasonable guy, and we explained to him why we were benefiting him, why we would benefit him. And then he kind of just looked at it like, hey, like they're probably gonna do it even if I say no, so I might as well like kind of like be with them. I mean, we weren't gonna do it, but that's kind of what he thought. So then that's when he agreed to like kind of be on our side and kind of just help us out. And then after that, stuff was like really crazy. We were offered a space in the Innovation Center by Robert Vega. So we got a free office space, which is crazy. Like I never thought we'd have an office.
Were you guys going to be the only ones they were going to give permission to?
Yeah.
As a pilot, basically?
Yeah. So we got an office. We did a pitch competition in our school against like seniors, like juniors, like these people that had been like in business classes for years. So it was a lot of competition, but we ended up winning first place. We got $2,500 to start up. So that's super cool. Yeah, the video's online. Maybe I'll show you guys one day. It's pretty cool. I was nervous, but I think I did pretty good.
I love this story, man. This is great.
Yeah, and it's all over the place because like it's hard to kind of get my thoughts straight. But that's kind of what happened. And then we were offered a space. We finished the app. We found I believe like 3 other developers. They're super smart guys. They're all from campus. They're students, so they're kind of helping us like pro bono in a way. They're kind of just part of the team. And after like everyone's gonna get paid after it starts up. And then that happened. So yeah, and now we're kind of just the app is done. We set up an LLC. Oh, before we set up the LLC, the reason we did that, I had never done that before, but we actually got threatened to be sued. Someone was gonna sue us.
From who? From where? Who?
So this student that said he had the same idea as us came to us. He had no grounds, but he said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna pursue this in court. Like you guys stole my idea." So basically he couldn't sue us, but he was very serious about it. He was filing documents like in the court. So that's when like, hey, like, you know, like he has nothing against us, but like let's just set up an LLC. Like that's when Robert told us you guys should set up an LLC just like to protect yourselves. So that's when we did that. So look, see now
So
like
pause there for a second because we talked about this the other day, right? We talked about one of the benefits. You don't have to create a corporation. You can do it as an independent, like a contractor. But one of the benefits of creating a new entity, a legal organization, which Marco, you took us through how you did that with the city of LA and the IRS to get your tax ID and all that. It wasn't that hard. I mean, it wasn't. It really wasn't. It's not the most efficient process because you're working with the government, but it wasn't that hard. You figured it out. That was on the session we did 2 days ago, if someone wants to listen to it. But the benefit of doing it is when you create a corporation, you have limited liability. Because if someone sues, they sue the corporation. They can't sue you personally. So the corporation might have to declare bankruptcy, but that doesn't affect your personal finances. So you basically learn that. So you're basically, Kevin, you decided to set up a corporation. What did you set up? An S corp or an LLC or what?
We set up an LLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the state of Arizona. It was super simple. We did it all online, which is like super cool. And it was like, I think it was like $120. It's like not expensive at all.
Yeah, and then that gave you protection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So at this point we had the app done. We had our LLC set up. We had remodeled our whole office. We had just won the competition. So like we were excited. We were like ready to start. And that's when we got the email that school was gonna go off campus, and we were like that sucks. And that's when we got off campus, but now we're just waiting kind of to go back to school to start up. But we're super excited now. We finally have permission. We have all the resources. We have over 800 students that have signed up to work with us. So like that's crazy. Like being able to say that.
Talk about
like we're gonna employ over 800 students. It's crazy. And the cool thing about it is that we're offering $2 a delivery for every student. We're charging $4 for deliveries, and we're giving students each $2 from it. And students are able to complete 5 deliveries in an hour walking, right? So if they're walking, they're making $20 an hour. If they have a skateboard, they're making like, I don't know, like crazy amounts. So we have a bunch of students. Like we're just excited to start up.
This is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm excited. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. I love that whole story. I love the fact that a lot of people told you no. What if you would have listened to one of those people that you said you know and kind of laughed at you and you just said, yeah, I'm not going to do this. All the great stories you hear about that's how the entrepreneur started off.
Yeah. Actually, can you guys give me a second? I'm gonna I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
You got so excited that you now got to run to the bathroom.
I'm drinking too much water.
No, but I agree. I think that constant, like, you know, that kind of mindset of being a little bit defiant at times is something that like you face. I feel like Nava College Prep does a great job at preparing students for that, where like, you know, it is you know, and I will, you know, I'll say it to heart that it's a very like student-led campus, and you know, at least from my experience when I was there, and you really, you know, you're really working with like administrators to make key decisions, and I think that's where kind of why you see some, you know, students at Nava who like doing, you know, like, you know, pursuing entrepreneurship, kind of doing these projects, and so like it's really exciting. I didn't even know Kevin was doing this until like recently, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But like I'm also like, I could expect it. I could, you know, kind of trace it back to the high school because, you know, there's just so many great mentors.
Well, that's why we got to, I'm glad you guys are bringing this up because now's the opportunity. That's why I want young people to join this and listen to this, because how else are you going to hear this? You know, you heard it in the Exponential Entrepreneur Program in the high school that we started, but This is not stuff that normally gets shared. And like this whole notion of also, I love the fact that Kevin's like, what's the worst that could happen? We just fail. You know, it didn't cost anything to do it because the technology was basically free, right?
Mhm.
So that's how you learn. And you might start off doing it one way and completely fail like he did. And then next thing you know, it turns into something else, you know. It's just a great example of how perseverance and some ingenuity. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this,
and I skipped a lot of the parts because like I can't just exactly remember, but that's kind of like that's more or less what happened. But something I didn't mention is like I wouldn't have been able to do this without like the mentorship of the people who helped me. Like I was lost at certain points, but people like Robert Vera or Kevin Youngblood, like people that have been successful in their field, like they're such great guys, and they were there to kind of like answer my questions whenever I needed like help or anything like how to set up an LLC or like what's like what's a tax number, like how do I get that from the IRS, and just stuff like that, like stuff I had no clue what it was. They kind of they guided me, like helped me through that, like the whole process. So just having someone that you could answer like any of your questions is just it feels really good. It's crazy.
that's awesome. So here, I want to show you guys a couple things based on this because I was pulling up some slides. So first of all, thanks, Kevin. I'm so excited to hear how this goes. I wanted you to get your business partner on one of the calls as one of our guests one time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because quite frankly, you could scale that into a lot of ideas, you know, because people also need books, you know, and pencils at the last minute or, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of things that if you got permission to be the delivery source on the campus.
Yeah.
Then you just sell the software.
Yeah. So here, I want to show you guys something real quick. Let me do this. So it made me think of this. So first of all, I had a meeting with Uri Levine. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Uri Levine, but you've heard of Waze, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Uri Levine is up there in the right corner, and he's the founder of Waze. And I was in Israel because that's where he's based. Israel has an amazing technology scene. There's a book that I recommend you guys read. It's called The Startup Nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fast read. Have you ever read it, Marco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys will get inspired by it. It's called The Startup Nation. And what it is I don't know if you guys know this, but per capita, Israel has like more innovation than just about everybody else. I don't know if that stat's exactly correct, but you get my point. But there's a very specific reason why they're very innovative. And it's a lot of it's the mindset and the culture and how they were trained. And it's such an interesting story, but you see tons of innovation coming out of Israel, some of the breakthrough innovations. And it's because of the way they wired the culture and the way the whole system works. And they're not afraid to fail and all this stuff. And it's a very, very interesting story. There's a book, it's a very famous book now for entrepreneurs called The Startup Nation. It's a very quick read, but why don't one of you guys read that and then we'll talk about it because there's a lot of lessons in there that shows how a community and a network can really be entrepreneurial and be very innovative. But anyways, he shared this slide, so I'm giving him credit. But you know, his basic message was this was what most people think, right? This is what successful people know, right? You got to fail in order to learn. If I came to you and pitched it, we talked about this before. If I came and pitched you an idea and you're an investor or someone that's looking to support me or be a partner or work for me, if I told you, if you said, well, tell me about your failures in coming up with this idea, like where did you fail? And I said, well, no, actually I'm awesome. I didn't fail at all. I did what's on the left. I was successful. I don't have a failure. Okay, well, I'm a little concerned to invest in you then because there was someone in my office pitching me an idea that was in the same space, you know, dealing with the same thing, but they did what's on the right. They took me through about 4 or 5 times they failed. And the reason they failed is because they stretched the outer limits until it broke. They tried some really difficult things to understand where the boundaries were.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And without knowing those boundaries, they might have been secluded in kind of isolated vision about what success looks like, but they never knew how far they could stretch it. You know, the example you just gave, Kevin, if you would have failed and gave up, like your first fail was you went to that meeting on campus at the Idea Factory or the Idea Club, and you shared it with them, and they're like, yeah, they're kind of jokingly laughed at it and said they didn't think it was all that good of an idea. It was going to be rough. You could have failed out at that point, right?
Mhm.
But they told you why. You learned something. You learned that in order to do this, you got to figure out a way to get in with the system on the campus.
Mhm.
You know, and then you went somewhere else and you did something, you failed. Even when you did it for, you made the $300 in a few hours and you did all that and you had the app and you had all these impressions on Instagram, and then you got, you know, had to shut down because he called you back into his office and showed you the email trail of being reprimanded. That was kind of another fail, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't throw in the towel, but you see what I'm saying? You kept testing boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And by testing those boundaries, you finally found out what it would take to be successful. Versus the other example is this. If you just said, if you didn't talk to anyone and you and your buddy built an app and you went on campus and you used it, and then you said, we're successful, let's go get some money. And you showed someone, look, I was successful, I got this money. And you're now telling me as an investor, I should invest in you. Well, little do both of us know that the whole campus, there's an email trail somewhere reprimanding what you did and you're about to get shut down. Because you never failed. Everything to you looks rosy. You made $300, you did it in a day, you went to an investor, you're asking an investor for money. So I'd be very skeptical if you came to me and said you didn't fail, because that's a blind spot. Like you, on the other hand, are the one that's on the right here. You know all your blind spots because you failed a bunch. So I would be more confident to invest in you because I'd see, okay, you figured that out. Well, I'm glad you figured that out before you came and asked me for money, because otherwise I would have given you money like the guy on the left, thinking you were successful, right?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not just a soundbite that, you know, it's really a discipline and a method. You know, failures are the best teachers, especially when they're fast, cheap, and forward. And what we mean by that is fast means, you know, if they would have told you you can't move forward and that company said, we're going to sue you or you can't do it. And they basically gave you no options and they literally shut you down. So now you were risking, you know, breaking a rule on campus and getting suspended if you proceeded. You could just say, okay, we're done. And that was pretty fast because you probably started it 2 weeks before. It's not like you gave 2 years of your life, right? Cheap is you didn't put a lot of money into it. You actually made money. You didn't put a lot of money into it. You used free software. Your friend knew how to code. And forward is that you didn't make the same mistake twice, meaning you failed once. You didn't make that same mistake to fail again. You made new mistakes. You made new failures, which is good because that's part of learning. It's only bad failure if it's not fast. And this is what happens. Sometimes you get this group think where you and your buddy, if you were with a big team, your team might be like, we don't want to go tell, maybe you had an investor, like maybe I invested in you guys, but then you're like, we don't want to go tell Marcus that this is not working. And everyone on the team knows it's kind of not working, but no one wants to tell Marcus because I'm the investor and you think I'm going to pull the funds or I'm going to be upset the fact that the idea didn't work. So all of you just play along and you continue even though you know it's failing. And that's bad failure. That's like not fast. You probably put more money into it. It's not cheap. And you're probably making the same mistakes over again. And that's failure that doesn't work. And a lot of businesses, the reason why they can't keep up with startups is a lot of big businesses, that's their problem, is they start projects, $1 million projects. I've been part of some of these, right? Multi-million-dollar projects. There's a huge team, 100 people. We're building some software. We're doing something in a company. And people start to realize, man, we've got so much effort into this and so much resource and time and money. We can't fail. It's not an option. You hear that, failure is not an option.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to tell the boss, this is not going to work. Let's pull the plug.
Yeah.
And so what you end up with is everyone goes through the motions. You deliver a big system for the company. You leave the building because you were the consultant or what have you. And next thing you know, a year later, you come back and nothing worked. You know what I mean? So it's really important to have agility and adaptability as an entrepreneur. That's why companies are trying to find more entrepreneurs that are okay to fail and able to say, you know what, this is not working. Because you're not taking it personally when it's a failure. It's not like you did something incompetent. It's the fact that you're experimenting. And sometimes you experiment and it fails, right?
Yeah. And something I want to mention is it has taken me about like 8 months to get to where I am now with Lopsy, like being able to get permission to school and like just a bunch of things. And something I really had to learn was how to like, I guess, learn from the failure and kind of like keep on trying it again. Like there was points where I kind of just wanted to like stop trying because it was just too hard. Like, for example, when the guy wanted to sue us, right? like I was really scared. My friend was scared. Like we're 18. Like what are we gonna do? Like we're getting sued. Like what are they gonna take from us? But then we just spoke to people and they kind of told us like, hey, like it's like just not that serious. Just do this, and kind of just keep on trying, keep on going. Like not don't really like let anything scare you and kind of just
Yeah,
find different paths. If one path doesn't work, take the other one. And if that one doesn't work, just
that's great.
keep on looking.
Yeah, and speaking of suing, this is the other thing I want to share with you guys. You know how we were just talking about antibodies, right? So when they start to see disruption occurring, you know, like, hey, we have a campus, everything's working normal, we sell food this way, you're coming in, you're disrupting it, right? The antibodies come out. And you see this, here's some news articles, like in 2014, Hellmann's Mayonnaise tried to sue a company called Just Mayo that was making an eggless product of mayonnaise. Basically, innovation, they were trying to sue. The company was trying to sue them, right? This startup called Hampton Creek, which is an amazing story behind Hampton Creek, because they're the ones that are making kind of all this next generation of food product. You know, the city of Portland wanted to sue Uber because it was disrupting the taxi industry. The antibodies were the taxi industry. They're like, we've been doing it this way for 100 years or for 50 years or for 10, you know, don't disrupt us. This is the way the model works. And Uber came in, kind of did what you did. They came in and they're like, we're going to completely disintermediate this model because it's broken. It doesn't work. It's like when you were hungry at midnight studying and you couldn't get food. It's like, it doesn't work, right? And so San Francisco and Los Angeles started to sue Uber when it first came out. Uber was sued by a rival company in Germany, like someone telling you, Kevin, that we're going to sue you because we had the idea. Airbnb was getting sued. And you know what happens is that I've worked with governors, okay, and mayors of cities, and I've consulted them in both Philadelphia, the governor of Wyoming, mayors all over the world. And what I tell them is this: you know what you don't want to do? You don't want to get bad press showing that you're suing the innovators. You know why? Because that tells all the entrepreneurs in the world not to come to San Francisco or not to come to Los Angeles or not to come to Wyoming or not to come to New York to set up shop, because you're anti-innovation. You're suing the innovators, the disruptors. Now, obviously, San Francisco is one of the most innovative places, and New York's one of the most innovative places in the world. But you guys get my point, is like, all you're doing, when this is going to happen regardless, you're not going to stop it. And by just throwing lawsuits at it, your risk is you start to really set a brand for your city that you're anti-innovation. And the reality is they're not anti-innovation. They're just trying to protect jobs, and they're trying to make sure that it's done in a proper way and it's responsible. And so it's an appropriate thing to do. I'm not getting critical of the city administrators and the state officials. I'm just saying, in general, though, you've got to approach it where you're not just basically getting tons of front page news showing that you're suing things that are like Airbnb and Uber. Because this was years ago, and it's like, you're not going to stop it. Airbnb and Uber are going to come in, and they needed some control because they could get out of control, right? But it's just this, let's say Uber's illegal, e-hails destroying yellow cab. And because it was disrupting industries too quickly. People didn't know how to adapt to that change. You know, so, and those are the antibodies, and it's going to be a continued issue and problem because it's just the beginning, what we're seeing. I mean, these models to use software and innovation and, you know, social media and stuff is going to allow industries that have been around for decades to just crumble because there's just a better mousetrap out there. There's just a much better way to do it that's cheaper, better, and faster. And now, you know, young people like you in a garage can build it and do it, right? And so, you know, a lot of the government work that I have done in the past was trying to advise city officials on how not to give yourself a bad brand. I mean, still be responsible. Just don't look at like you're anti-entrepreneur, because you can send the wrong signals, you know? And if you want jobs to exist in your city 10 years from now, you better figure out a way to get all these entrepreneurs to want to come set up shop, right? You want them to come here. That's why with Governor Matt Mead of Wyoming, we did a vertical takeoff and landing summit when I was at X Prize, where we co-hosted it with the governor there, which was VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. It was flying cars. So we had the first flying car summit with leaders from Google and Virgin Galactic and Uber and Bell Helicopter and Porsche. we had all these executives come out, and the governor of Wyoming said, please come use Wyoming as your testing ground to experiment with flying cars, because we could use them to rescue people that get lost in the woods on hikes. We could rescue people that get into forest fires, you know, basically autonomous flying drones that can pick up people, can do passengers. And they basically said, set up shop here because we would love to see innovation happen here and this be known for the VTOL center of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great business strategy, an economic strategy to get jobs into your city or your area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Marco, you talk a lot about politics and helping the community and stuff. You know, you could form a career where you're doing that type of advising for cities and municipalities where you're actually educating them on how to bring these types of jobs into their area, because otherwise you're not going to have any jobs. People are going to graduate from your schools in your state and they're going to go to cities and places where there's more friendly to entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So a strategy right now is mayors and governors and prime ministers. I did work in Bangkok over the last year. I think, Marco, you and I were talking when I was going to Bangkok. I met with the prime minister there. It was really just a discussion is how do you create an exponential country?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you create jobs of the future and invite people to be entrepreneurs, because that's going to be the economy of your city. You know, good examples of this are Dubai has done a tremendous job in reinventing themselves as a geography in the world. They've completely created, you know, the UAE with Dubai. They've created from an oil economy to this complete innovation entrepreneurial economy. I mean, they're like one of the leaders now. Israel has done that, completely reinvented themselves, tons of innovators. I mean, these create a lot of jobs and a lot of economic wealth for the province or the country. You know, and so you could get a job where you learn how to teach, you know, the city of Los Angeles or the city of whatever, you know, how to bring young people to set up shop.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was super fun, man. Kevin, that was awesome.
Yeah, I think even hearing your story of starting your business again, Kevin, it's so awesome to, you know, to get it feels like I just heard it again because it's such a powerful story.
Yeah. Now what gets me the most excited is that, like, I think that when I realize that I'm just like getting started, like this is just the beginning. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
crazy. I'm excited for like everything that's gonna come.
we're going into our roaring 20s.
All right, let me see. I'm trying to, oh my gosh. And I'm technical too. Why can't I find oh, there it is. All right, well, as usual, we went a little over. I think the recording was about an hour though, but we had a little bit of fun chat before. But this was, man, Marco and Christian and Noella, Pablo's not on today, but Kevin, this was really cool this week, what you guys shared. I'm glad we got it on video, because you know what we'll do is later when we get to it in the section of our journey map, our roadmap, where we get to how do you start a business, and we more formally talk through this and we go step by step, because this is just kind of an orientation introduction just to give people exposure. When we get to that point, I'd like you guys to think about putting just a few PowerPoint slides together that kind of map out the method that you went through. You know, where you failed, where you succeeded, what you learned, and step by step what you did. First of all, that will teach you some skills of how to be a consultant, because that's kind of what consultants do. It's like, here's a process and this is how you get there. I can help you guys with that. It's called process mapping. But it will be good for when you take people through it, they have some, you know, they have some visuals that they can look at that kind of take them step by step. Everyone likes to see kind of, here's my step by step, and now I have, you know, and then I have a decision where I have to go this way or that way, and then, you know, that type of thing. So we'll do that more formally, but this was great. That was really fun.
It was a great week. I really enjoyed it myself as well.
Cool. Yeah, I'm having fun too. Oh, I like the cat, Noella. I think I saw in your bio on our website that you got like 9 cats.
Oh, I do. No, I have 7.
7? I love cats. I have a cat called Blue.
11.
I adopted her. We adopted her like 6 months ago. She was a stray. And cat's awesome. Within about a month, I wonder my cat. Hey, Blue. See if my cat will come here. Within about a month, she chewed off a little piece of her toy, and we had to take her to the emergency room. And she had to get an operation where they cut her intestine open to get something out of her intestine, and I didn't have pet insurance. It was $6,000
Yeah.
surgery. The lesson I learned was get pet insurance. It costs about $30 a month, and it's for that reason. Because my cat, but we sewed her up, and she's perfect now. She's fine, but
Wait, hold on. Let me screenshot this picture. I'm gonna screenshot it.
that's awesome. Hey, Blue, come here. I want my cat to come here. I'll show, the cats will like each other on the screen. Well, we'll get our cats together next time.
Okay. I'm screenshotting this.
I do. I like dogs too, but I really like cats. It's awesome. All right, guys, let's. Oh, we're playing. What is that?
What is that?
What is that?
It's a chihuahua.
That poor Chihuahua sitting there with 7 cats. Tortured in quarantine for coronavirus. Thing's tortured, man.
Wait, she was home all day too?
Is that a he or she? The Chihuahua.
She. Yeah.
I could hear her saying like, "Help me!"
Oh, the turtle.
You got a zoo going on there or what? You got a zoo going on.
I think together, like both me and Chris, we have like 19 cats. I have 11 and he has how many cats? He has 6.
That's awesome.
Oh, we have 17
Well,
together.
There's probably a business idea in there somewhere. All right, let's do this, guys, so we can officially start our weekend. So we'll be back Monday. So ignore this. It says see you tomorrow. That's not true. We won't see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. We'll see you Monday. On behalf of the team, we got to get pictures of the cats on our team, on our website.
Oh,
Hey, I
my
don't know,
God.
hey, Marco and team, did you notice I put up on the website, I found some photos from when we all went to 3D Systems and looked at 3D printers when you guys were at NAVA, when you were in high school. I found some photos. I posted them up there.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll think about it.
And Avi Reichenthal, my good friend who I talk to all the time, he's got a lab up in Ventura where he's got all these startups doing 3D printing. Once the coronavirus is over, we'll all do a field trip up there. It's amazing.
Awesome.
The 3D printing everything. Remember, he was the CEO of the largest 3D printing company, and he's also going to come on when we talk about 3D printing. He's offered to come on and share. But he's often published in Forbes and Fortune, Wall Street Journal. He's CEO and founder and investor of many companies. But he's got this lab that's doing artificial intelligence, 3D printing, and robotics for supply chain and manufacturers. And it's just about an hour north. So you guys are all invited. If we can get a whole bus, I'll pay for it. We'll get a whole bus and we'll bring up a crew, if anyone from this program, and he'll love to entertain us for a day.
Yeah. We also all drive, so, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. You drive.
Yeah.
We'll get a bus so we can, we'll drive. But yeah, we'll definitely do that because you guys will freak out when you see this place. It'll be such a benefit for you guys to see this because there are hardcore entrepreneurs in there creating the future, 3D printing electronics, 3D printing, like the latest innovation and invention. You guys will love it. Very cool space. All right. We got your back. Now let's go exponentially disrupt this. On behalf of the cats and the Expo D squad, we're out. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Take care. See you on Monday.
For the weekend.